Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of science of mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?
Singing in love, we are one. Singing in celebration. We are one, singing in love. One more time. We are one in harmony, singing in celebration. We are one in harmony, singing in love. We are one, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in love.
Thank you, Astra. You know, it's fun, Astra. It's always good to have you here, and you've been here enough to we're starting to sing your songs without even looking at the lyrics. So thank you for being here. What a glorious day it is today. Last week, I neglected to honor birthdays, and we have so many August birthdays in our community. It's so good to celebrate, and today happens to be my birthday, so I'm so glad to be here. We'll celebrate all birthdays at the end of the service, but I'm always grateful to be here in this community, but especially on the day of my birth. I'm glad to be here. I usually go on a solo retreat around my birthday. This year I've delayed it for a couple reasons, so I won't go for a couple weeks, but that's something that's a commitment to my soul, and my soul starts to tell me if I don't promise at that time. So that'll be in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But today, what a great day to celebrate all of us today and celebrate this community. We'd like to begin with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll read along, or hopefully you've got this one memorized too by now, but for those who've been here for a while. But we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission: we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. Always good to affirm that and know that that which we do on Sundays and during the week, during our meditation time, our classes, our events that we have. We had a workshop yesterday that I wasn't there, but I heard it was a great workshop, and people really enjoyed that. We'll have more workshops like that coming up, but I'm glad everybody it was a good space to have this kind of transformational work that we do. So thank you for being a part of that. I do want to let you know a couple other things going on in this month and next month. First of all, today is Green Bag Day. So if you brought back some food that's part of this drive, you could just raise your hand. Let's acknowledge you for doing that. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We know that the food bank is a little low during the summer months here. So if you didn't get a chance to be part of ours, you can always give to the food bank at any time that you want to. So thank you for being a part of this and helping those people that are in need to bring food to their table in a sustainable way. And then this 2 weeks from tonight, from Saturday, from yesterday, we are having a concert on Saturday the 26th. And this is Gary Lynn Floyd. And if you've not heard him before, he's just an amazing singer-songwriter. Been doing this for, I don't know, a while, 35 years. He started as a teenager doing Christian rock concerts and won awards, and now as a New Thought singer, he's winning awards there too. Just a beautiful soul. So we're going to bring him in and have another courtyard concert, bring a picnic, bring something to drink if you like, and just enjoy the community that's there. So last month when Johnny Smith was here, he stopped for a moment and goes, "I'm not used to people just listening to me." I think he's used to more clubs when people are doing other things, and we were right with him, and so that's what we wanted to be, right with each other on that day. So please join us for that. And then September, we are suddenly going to have a plethora of classes and events and workshops. And what I like, it's also the month of harvest, so I just kind of made a little comment about don't let it crush you to carefully at what there is and pick and choose what you want to be a part of, what draws you, but be open to being guided to be a certain event. So the whole list of them, and this isn't even the whole list, but most of it is on September 3rd, we're having a fundraiser for Sean Boyd. He's going to Uganda, and I'll let him talk about that more in just a few minutes. But we also have on September 29th a volunteer Sunday, pizza and participation Sunday. There's a new book study starting on the 11th. And on the 12th, my class, This Life is Joy, starts. And on the I can't even keep up with all the 17th, we're having a community visioning. The 23rd, another body mindfulness workshop, but not by Marla, but by our two of our new practitioners, Don and Dana. We're excited about that. And then at the end of September, our annual donor appreciation event. So a full September. And we have many things. And then registration has started for This Life is Joy class. And it's 7 principles that can guide your life. They're tangible, they're relatable. We'll do experiential work so you can understand them and apply them in your lives. And they bring you to a place of beauty, seeing beauty in all things and having empowerment to accomplish those things. So I encourage you to be a part of that. It is an in-person class. Now, if there's some reason for mobility reasons or you're far away, my Zoom crowd there, then feel free to, you can take it by Zoom. It is a sliding scale fee. We don't have registration. She's out today because Mary is still out right now. But you can sign up online. The email that went out this morning, if you're on our email list, or just go to the web page and you'll see under classes and events, you'll see the connection to sign up for it. So it's right there. And then also we have this really fun workshop I mentioned that Dana and Don are doing, Body Mindfulness. It's a path of healing. And it's in September 23rd. It's just a one-day event, but they're going to do most of it, weather permitting, out in the courtyard. So it's going to be a really fun event to be part of nature and be part of this mindfulness that we can know is in nature, but within ourselves too. So looking forward to that event also on September 23rd. And then, as I mentioned, Sean Boyd, if he can come up and talk now. He has a long relationship with Uganda, has been there before, and is interested in coming back. And I'll let him explain what he's doing there.
Oliotia Bianange, which means, hello, my friends. Indi Enrinya Sean Boyd. My name is Sean Boyd. How are you today? So, nice to see you. 23 years ago, I met a young man from Uganda named Ronald. He was 15, very shy. He took off his hat, and he greeted me like this because I was his sponsor. We continued relationship through phone and through text and through eventually Skype and then Zoom. And he's my son. I call him my son. I don't call him anything else because he's, in fact, my spiritual son, or if not, my foster son. So he's done great things, and we've done great things together. We formed a small charity to support the members of the Peace Africa Children's Ensemble, which is his group that he created for students who were either disadvantaged or orphaned. And we created that, and that's been spinning for about 15 years. And we also have another school going to the east of Kampala for only secondary school students. A lot of districts in Uganda don't have secondary schools or don't have enough. So we created another one east of the capital city, Kampala, and I'll be going there to lead some lessons, to teach a little bit about philosophy, and hopefully slip in some science of mind there as well. I'm also just going to visit for my grandchildren, 2 twin boys and 1 older boy. My son is now 38, 36. And he's now Dr. Ronald, so he has a PhD from a university in Norway. So we'll be visiting as well as going to these schools to speak and to teach. And we're going to have a light lunch on the 3rd after service. And hopefully you can come and learn more about it. I'll be presenting a slideshow presentation about the whole history of what we're doing, and hopefully inspire you to open your wallets just a little bit. Thank you very much.
Sean. There's also a CSL school there, Center for Spiritual Living School, that's being supported by certain centers. So we're also wanting to fundraise to support that for Sean to connect with them. So that's September 3rd after the services, and look forward to that. We have. And then also this new book study that Laura Keller's doing. If you were part of the book study that was done before on See No Stranger, this is an extension, but you don't have to have been part of the other book study. And it's a really powerful book by Rianne Eisler about, the name sort of, sacred pleasure. What do you mean by that? It kind of grabs you, but in truth, particularly women, but all of our, a lot of our body images and things have been suppressed by governments and religious institutions. And this is just going through historically and spiritually different times and finding new paths to power and love. So I think it's
Hello. Just stay in this sacred moment, resonating, weaving in and out in this unity through community that we are so blessed to share on this morning and every morning. The experience of God in our lives, this one life, this sacred life that is our life now. We are so grateful to experience and feel. And I just want to take a moment, take a breath, breathe in this beautiful light, this beautiful God light that is our light, and this presence that is our presence now. Thank you. I know most of you know me as the lady who sits in the back doing the production, and sometimes the lady who comes and sings here. My slide, thank you. Oh, backwards. There we go. Yes, that is the one I want, yes. I told Reverend Jay that when I finally got to be a practitioner and I got up on platform, that I would just do a 5-minute slideshow of my granddaughter and just talk about the pure joy of spirit that I have been blessed to experience in this last year. And this was sort of a compromise. I only did one slide. But I did want to talk about being a grandparent and not just unconditional love, because what's happening right now for me is the connection that I feel to my own grandfather, who was the person who taught me how to sing. And the one song that he taught me how to sing that I remember when I was very small was Lahaina Luna. And when I heard, people saying that Lahaina was gone, the song just came back to me in such a powerful way. The song just kept playing in my head on repeat, and I began to connect, in my heart with the people of the island who were going through a terrible tragedy that, we here have also experienced with the fires. And my heart was just resonating. And I thought about my grandfather, who told me that I could be a professional singer, and told me that he would take me there someday to sit under the banyan tree and to see the Valley of the Moon. And sadly, that didn't happen because he passed away before I even became a teenager. He told me that by the time I was a teenager, I'd be able to sing at funerals. So I was good enough. He told me I was good enough. And, I never forgot, his passion for the people in the island. It was his most favorite place on earth, absolutely his most favorite place on earth. And the prayer that keeps coming to me is this song. It's I am going to the island of the valley in Lahaina, Lahaina Luna. And as that song kept playing in my head and friends started to call me, I have friends who are on the island and they are, dealing with the crisis right now, driving around in boats to rescue people who only have the shirts on their backs and, putting the last bit of money that they had into their gas tanks. And I have a friend who lives in Hawaii, makes his home in Hawaii, but had relocated to Maui to open a new restaurant. And he said that some of his employees were missing and that the restaurant was still intact, and they're now serving 1,000 meals 3 times a day to the volunteers and the victims and the visitors who came to the island to, connect this place where millions of people come to experience, the beauty and the joy. This picture was sent to me by a friend who runs a t-shirt shop, and he went and he took every shirt, every bit of clothing he had, and brought it to this place so that he could share with the people. These it's not just lives that are lost, which is horrible, but livelihoods. This is a place where people make their living, make their life, and you know, this feeling that I had was just so sad when I heard that, you know, some people were even saying, you know, that the banyan tree was gone and Lahaina was gone. That's why I kept hearing that. I was like, no, I can't believe that that's true. And then my friend sent me this picture of the tree. And the next day, the sun rose through the tree, and the tree was standing. And even though there's some damage and there's some scarring, the tree is still standing. The people are still standing. The hope is very much still alive. The aloha spirit, neighbor helping neighbor. And now that FEMA is moving in to help people, you know, there were a few days where everybody was on their own, and the neighbors were helping neighbors, and, you know, neighbors pulling other neighbors out of the fire. One of my daughter's best friends, her grandmother, woke up to find her kitchen on fire. And she ran outside, and her neighbor grabbed her and threw her into the car and drove her to safety. You know, just those stories that are emerging, the stories of hope. And I just want us to stay and pray for these people, pray for the hopefulness, because it is a long road back. It will be a long road to recovery. And I know that we all have that connection here in our community. We know what it's like to be a community and to rise in, you know, resilience. And so I just want us to take a moment and just feel that resilience, feel that blessing that we have here together, that we share, and extend that out to the people of Lahaina. And I just want to finish with the rest of the song that my grandfather taught me. That's where you'll find me, down by the seaside, watching the moon rise, the golden starlight in Lahaina, Lahaina Luna. I do believe in infinite possibilities, and I believe that Lahaina Luna will rise again. Thank you.
On my mind, I woke up today with the past I left behind. Somebody told me
Beautiful song, perfect song for today as we continue to talk about hang on just a minute, igniting our purpose and our passion. That is probably an interesting topic, thinking about igniting and fire, considering that we know that fire is both that fire within us that is our passion, but also externally is something that can both be useful, it heats, it cooks, but also can be a danger, as we know firsthand here in the Santa Rosa, Napa areas, that we are dealing with fires at different times and blessing Hawaii, Maui. And what a beautiful prayer this morning, what a beautiful fitting that we can hold them in our prayers and get a personal sense of what's going on with them. Because we know, although we've experienced fires here, their experience is going to be much different. And I know they've lost some, what I've heard is they've lost some cultural artifacts too that are part of their ancient culture there. So what we know is that their culture continues, that it will be rebuilt because there's something ancestral in the very roots of their life there on that beautiful island and on all the islands there. So we continue to hold them in our prayers. But what I know is this idea of igniting our passion is a metaphor, and fire has inspired the invention of electricity and light bulbs and this inner fire that we have within us. It's literally the 98 degrees of our body, the mitochondria that's in every cell of our being. It's a burning passion for things. Things excite us, inspire us, enliven us, that allow us to create more purpose in our lives because it's more meaning. So what we do is more than just doing. It is a powerful expression of the divine because of this passion within us. And those scientists, those physicists and philosophers that have understood this on a deep level understand the world is just all energy. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Albert Einstein, his famous formula, E equals mc squared, is about how energy and mass are interchangeable as long as matter and form has that potential for light and energy that is transformational. We know that a transformational energy is the healing vehicle in our bodies and in our relationships and in life as a whole. At the quantum level, it is the photon light that is the energy of healing in our bodies. And this consciousness that we call energy that is not just in our bodies but all around us is this healing energy that can heal apparent differences between us all. What I know about these apparent differences they're not just one spectrum, but there are many spectrums that we were on. Of course, we have different views and different thoughts about things, different perceptions of things. And we're all connected in this one consciousness. There's only one. And so as we continue to be aware of our own energy, our own passions, our own understanding of things, we can create what I would call fermenting or percolating. The Centers for Spiritual Living sends out topics and ideas for talks, and I use some of them. Some of them I just use as kind of maybe some quotes I pull out of it. But this week, what was called percolating our passion and purpose, and I was afraid we wouldn't know what percolating means anymore. Plus, we are in wine country, so the idea of fermenting our passion and purpose together, whether it's like a simmer of a stew or a curry we're making, or making wine out of the grape mash, or we're percolating some tea or coffee. What it is, it just needs time to be, time to stew, time to ripen. And we know on a spiritual level we have passions that are within us that I've heard it compared to the fire that's within us as can be a flame that has too much energy to it and can kind of overwhelm people, or people kind of push back from us, not sure what to do with our high energy, or it could be very low energy, too low, maybe even a flame that's not even noticeable. I like the term pilot light, and of course pilot light is one of those outdated words too, with electronic start stoves and electric water heaters. But a pilot light, if you remember, was just a small flame that would run constantly, that would be available, and when we needed to turn up our passions, we could turn it into hotter, warmer, more engaged. And so if we keep that awareness of the Spirit within us as a pilot light, keep it maintained, and there's times we'll experience too much energy, and we take a moment to bring it into peace that we know we can channel. And we're not trying to suppress it. We're not trying to knock it down completely. We're just trying to get it to a level of awareness and use. And it is available to us when we want to have that extra energy, when we want to move forward with something, when there's a change that we want in our health or in our wealth, or we're a new endeavor of a job or a new project we're working on, a new whatever we're doing, and we need that extra energy to get the momentum started. We can turn up the heat and we can get it going. And we also know that when a tragedy like that Maui happens, some people go, thoughts and prayers aren't enough. Well, I agree thoughts and prayers aren't enough, but they're a good start. They're a good start to send energy and know the truth about these resilient people that live in Hawaii. And we also know to bring our thoughts within and know that prayer, know the oneness of all life is the way I like to affirm it. From a place of a low pilot light and knowing that pilot light is there for them also. The Chinese Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu says, muddy water, let stand, becomes clear. Muddy water, let stand, becomes clear. So it's in that moment that we allow that clarity, allow that silt to settle down, that we can know what is ours to do. I don't think me getting in a plane and flying to Maui right now is not what I'm called to do. But I'm called to contribute money to certain causes that may help them to know the truth of who they are. I lived in Hawaii for years, so I know a lot about that culture, and I know that they are resilient, and there is something beautiful about the aloha spirit, that they are kind to each other, and they will survive, and they'll do more than survive. They'll thrive, they'll rebuild, and they'll create a new community that's even better. I also know what Meister Eckhart, who was a 13th century Christian mystic, and he said, what we take in by contemplation, we can pour out in love. So if we take action and we're kind of half, baked, so to speak, we're not fully simmered, we're not fully fermented. Have you ever had wine that's not fermented? It's a little green and pungent and not had enough time. Then we can do more harm than good. And when we take in by contemplation, we can pour out in love because we are guided towards what is the highest and best for us to do. And we can have clarity about what is ours to do. So at the beginning of all this, we just let this inner spark catch fire. So if we want to use the metaphor of fire, promise no fire, real fire today, but we build the fire, we build the wood, and we get our fire started, and we know that we can feel that in our own beingness, in our own connectedness. a campfire that we blow into it. We bring oxygen to it. We let it aliven in this way. We rekindle possibly a pilot light that's gone out. Or we bring down one that's gotten too high. And the only way we're going to know that is in this point of contemplation, this point of allowing a greater life. Howard Thurman once said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So this passion I'm talking about is a whole body, a portal that we go through, that we open up to all of the chakras in our body. That we're not just a thinking machine or even just a feeling machine. We're our whole body. We know that the roots that we talk about that are in the painting behind me here is our ancestors. Now, sometimes we think of our ancestors as being out there, but there are ancestral roots that ground us in the truth of who we are. Not only our DNA ancestors, but our spiritual ancestors that were the mystics of all time, the spiritual teachers that came before us here at this center and the Centers for Spiritual Living. And we never walk alone. The day that this myth about the lone savior, the lone hero, the lone ranger who saves everything and then rides off by himself, that's a myth, and it's not the way that serves us or serves anybody. That we are all heroines and heroes, and we're all doing our part, and we're staying in community so we can celebrate each other. We can celebrate the truth of who we are, our passions, and our love. I took a year of Aikido, which is a martial art. There are many good martial arts out there. I took Aikido more for the philosophy than becoming a master of Aikido, because that takes years and years. But I wanted to learn about it. And Aikido, it's translated, a Japanese word for the way of unifying with life. And the idea was that extra energy that comes your way from another person, you don't have to take it in. You can just let it go by. But there's also this thing, like in a lot of martial arts, where you're talking about being centered in your body. So the center of your body is actually between your solar plex and your belly button. And when you're aware of your center, you're less likely to be knocked off. Like literally, if you're up in your head and somebody pushes you, you're unbalanced. But there's a strength within you, an inner core, the chi energy, the ki energy that's Aikido, that's in you, that stays grounded. And so when it's a metaphor for physical but emotional things. When somebody says something that's potentially harmful or feels like betrayal, it doesn't knock you off your ground. There may be something you need to feel about it, but it doesn't knock you over because you're in a place of centeredness. And the same is true for our heart space that's here, which is part of our chakra system. So our roots, our centeredness, our third chakra and fourth chakra is heart, as well as our upper chakra, but this heart space. So if you're thinking about something, someone, a concern you have, a worry you have, whatever that is, it's up here. But when you contemplate, you take a moment, it doesn't have to be a long time at all, but just a moment to drop into your heart space, to let it drop in. You'll generally feel a softening and maybe an insight, an intuition, a wisdom. So I'd like just to take a minute to do this. We're going to do more of this in the class I'm teaching in September. But just if you feel comfortable, close your eyes for a moment. And think of a situation, something that concerns you. It could be the Maui situation. It could be something in our country. It could be something more personal in your life, a friend you have, your own concerns, your own worries. So just think about that. And then let your thoughts go for a moment and let your energy drop into your chest, into your heart center. And just breathe there. Notice any difference in the experience in your body. In your feeling level. If your experience of that concern you had. You can actually breathe into your heart center. Imagine your breath going into your heart center and breathing out through your heart center. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That's just a quick moment to do that. You can take longer to do that. How many people felt a little bit of a shift in what you experienced? So that's the moment you have, and you can extend it to be a few more minutes. You don't necessarily live out of that all the time. But when you feel that tension, that concern, that worry, take a moment to bring it into your heart and let that lead your action. Let it lead who you are. And this is coming into your whole body. And yes, we need our thinking. We need, as Ram Dass says, we need just enough ego to make sure we don't step in front of the bus. So we have to process the world in certain ways. We have to be aware of the world. Bob Goff, a motivational teacher, talked about, a friend told me there's a difference between whittling and carving. One is just killing time, the other is laden with purpose. Keep carving. I understand what he's saying, but at times I think we just need to whittle too, just to take some time to be. And in that whittling, we find what is calling us to carve, and create beauty, and create deeper connections, to create more purpose from our passions. So we get this fire going, and then we allow for our passion and our purpose to simmer. So I've got a big soup pan here, and I'm just going to let my passion simmer and let the purpose come out of it. The truth is that when we are cooking, we follow recipes, we get ideas from people, we cook something and it's terrible. One time I followed a recipe, and I was in my 20s, and I was just doing it quickly, and a cup of corn, a cup of I don't remember what else, barley or something goes in it, and a cup of cloves, and I put that in there, and I go, wait, a cup of cloves? It was supposed to be a teaspoon. So it was too late, so I went ahead and cooked it, and I tasted it. It was terrible. Oh my God, it was the worst soup I've ever eaten. So obviously that went throughout. So I learned from that, slow down a little bit, right? I know, a cup of cloves, can you imagine? Just make sure. Yeah, exactly. But this also is ideas that I get from a community, from people, from friends, about that reflect back to me what is important, what my passions are, how they respond to me, and it all goes into this pot that continues to simmer, that continues to bring heart and a sense of service, a sense of gratitude, a sense of openness and light, as well as that mirror back to me about what's not working, what needs to be let go, like a garden that we need to trim and cut back. Just because it's growing doesn't mean it needs to continue to grow. We prune, we allow, we create what serves us and let go of what doesn't. And just letting it simmer, letting it boil. We don't have to have all the answers right away. Healing takes time. And we, in our humanness and our thinkingness, thinks that we have a timeline for what grief or healing takes place, and it doesn't do that. We need to continue to be aware of it and allow it, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual healing, forgiveness work we need to do or we're called to do. We just let it simmer and continue to let it cook. And we can even, when we're ready, we partake of this when it feels the right time, when it smells right, when we're doing the taste test, right? That's it. Or it needs just a little more of this, a little more of that. And when we're ready, we share our passions and our whys. We're sharing with other people. We're willing to say, this is who I am right here. And this is why it's important for me to do this. Sometimes that which we share is not quite, it's half-baked. It's not quite ready. It's not perfect. The Jews, when they came, according to the story in the Old Testament, Genesis, the Jews had to leave captivity in Egypt quickly, or they would have had to stay, and they brought with them what they had, and their bread was unleavened. They didn't have a chance to let it rise, and it's what they had to take with them. And that story is still what Jews celebrate in Passover. They intentionally have unleavened bread. To sometimes we have to go forward when it's not quite ready. It's not, in our mind, perfect. But your expression is perfect right where you are. We have to be willing to accept what is. The Buddhists talk about, a big switch for me happened this week when I was in a conversation. I just finished a class for ministerial students on counseling, ministers, counselor, and we talked about different kinds of counseling, and they did projects they presented. And just one of our students, she was talking about Buddhism as being, I've always heard non-attachment leads to suffering, but she said when we're not accepting what is, that leads to suffering, which is similar, but it's different. So to accept what is leads us to a place of peace. But when we argue about what it should be, what it could be, what it ought to be, we're in a place of struggle and suffering. So when we just accept what is and we show up and tend to the fire and let things simmer, purpose and passion comes out of that. And I just go back to the words of Howard Thurman that says, don't ask what the world needs. Don't be worried about what they need or you need or she needs, or even in a way what I need. Just ask what makes me come alive. And go do that, because the world needs is people who have come alive. In all areas, we need that. So let us go to prayer. Holy Spirit, present with us now, for we know it is within each of us. And all around us in this oneness that we know to be the truth. I'm grateful that we can step more fully into this understanding of Spirit, this peace that's within our heart, this deeper insight of our passion and our purpose, because Spirit through us is this passion, is this aliveness that the world needs. We allow this Spirit to come through us as us in this creative, beautiful, powerful, and loving way. For we know that is what we're being called to do. Spirit is calling us forth, and we are allowing ourselves to be this conduit for something greater. I know this to be the truth as we release His word into law, knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is.
How does the light move through you? What is the shining star that lights you? If you could write a song, would you sing that song all day long? If you could write a book, would you write that book as long as it took? If you know what makes your heart sing, do it now. If you could sail a ship, would you set out on a worldwide trip? If you could fly a plane, would the sky become your new domain? If you know what makes your heart sing and the muse that pulls your heartstrings, do it now. If you dream it's possible, you can be unstoppable. If you could be more kind, would you feel peace of mind? If you had a skip in your step, would you feel truly blessed? If you know what makes your heart sing and the muse that pulls your heartstrings and the gift that lights your shining, do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
That's a perfect song after my talk. Thank you. Did you already have that one planned? Okay, good. It was right on. Now it's the time in our service we invite you to be part of the law of circulation. If we could have our ushers come forward. What I know is that which we give and express, our passions, our purpose, is an aliveness that comes back to us, that which we receive. I liked what we talked about before in contemplation. We receive, and the outpouring is our love. So we have a number of ways that you can support our center through donations, either giving online. We even have a text or checks here during our services, or mailing them into us. We appreciate all the support that you are giving us. And what I invite you to do is put your hand to your heart, whether it's something you're giving today or you've given previously or you're planning to give in the future. And we say the affirmation together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Won't you sing with me? I expand in abundance. I expand in success. I expand in love every day, and I inspire others to do the
Thank you so much. We like to welcome people here who might be here for the first time, whether you're online, we so appreciate you joining us, or you're here in our community in person. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. Is anybody here for the first time? Not today? Okay, well, know that you're welcome to bring friends with you. I think it's a great time to, as we come into the fall, to bring your friends, invite them, and enjoy and not only our services, but our study groups, our classes, fellowship after the service. So we appreciate you being there. And then we do have, I missed this last week, birthdays and anniversaries. Who has a birthday in August? We've got lots of birthdays here. I know Karen Reed. I think what they say is there's more birthdays in August and September than any other month. So we tend to have quite a few people, July, August, and September. So, and then anybody have an anniversary in August? Oh, ho, ho. How many years? Yeah, I hope it's with Harris. How many years? 41. That's awesome. And then we also honor anybody, although it's anonymous, if it happens to be an anniversary of your sobriety, we honor that path that you're on, a sacred path, and know that you're in your recovery in the highest and best place for you. Whether it's 1 day, 1 month, or 30 years, we honor that path. So we do have an affirmation to honor our birthdays and honor our anniversaries, and those people in sobriety anniversaries. We raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So we have the community affirmation, and we have the song, and the ending song. I kind of want to do it a little bit differently. We've been going to form a big circle, and that's just really hard to do with everybody here. So what I'd like to do is invite you to stand up now. We'll do the community affirmation. And then once we start the song, just right where you are, if you're kind of on the outside of the room, turn in. The people in the front, turn around. And if you're in the middle, just turn to the outside. And as we sing the part, may love be with you. Look at people around you and bless them and allow love be with them. But for now, we have the community affirmation. So repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Happening through me. Wow, let's try that again. Okay, repeat after me. Okay, maybe I didn't say it that way. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I am led by Spirit.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I am protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, may good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you, 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 love be with you.
Have a great Sunday.